Hi everyone, today I would like to show some of the film photos that I've taken over the course of the last month. These photos were taken in the month of August primarily, and I would like to try and make this into a new video series in which every time that I get a roll of film developed, we go through the photos and give some context to where they were taken and why I took them. All these photos were filmed on Kodak Color Plus 200 film. There are 26 photos in this round, and the camera that I used was a Canon AE-1, which I restored the month prior with a 50mm f1.2 lens, FD new, so the new series of the lens. So with that, let's get into the photos. So there's only 26 photos on this roll of film, and that's because the roll that I shot previously to this, I loaded incorrectly and didn't realize it until I got to the end. So this was the second roll after that, and I was a little bit paranoid that I didn't load this roll of film correctly either. So I dumped the first like 10 photos and made sure that the film was properly loaded. So this first photo is of a factory building near a town that I live in. This factory building, as far as I understand, is mostly vacant, but there's some businesses that are in it. There's actually a large levee that goes around the whole thing to prevent the river flooding going into the factory. The next one was a shot that I was trying to recreate from one that I've taken previously on the roll that wasn't developed. And the other roll, I'll put the digital equivalent photo that I took, had a much lower angle of the sun. So this one isn't as dramatic as I was trying to go for. On that same trail though, there's a very symmetrical tree. So I was able to get a pretty decent symmetrical photo of that. A lot of the photos I'm trying to take now are directly on straight shots to have a very symmetrical photo. Also downtown, there's a new theater that opened about a month ago. It's been renovated from an old theater that was there that was shut down for about 20 years. And unfortunately, with the timing, with the virus and everything, I don't know how well they're doing. I haven't seen it, but they have multiple movie theaters in there, one large one and some micro theaters that you can watch most of the modern or any modern film coming out. I haven't had a chance to go see a movie there yet. Another project that I'm trying to put together, up in Warwick, Rhode Island, there was a theme park that closed down in the early 90s called Rocky Point. That park is now a state park. No rides are left, and next to the airport there is kind of like an homage restaurant which sells some of the food that they were known for. They were known for their Rhode Island red chowder and their crab cakes, clam cakes, and I decided to stop by just to show what it was looking like. This is what the original entrance to the park looked like at one point in time. And again, another shot of the entrance. This would be a good time to point out that I had a local business develop these photos, and because I don't have all the equipment to develop photos, and it would be quite an investment to do. But I can tell that the chemicals that they're using is powder based due to the white flecks on the film. So I guess if I were to try and improve the process myself, I would try and use like a liquid chemical base or something like that. So all the rides have been removed from the state park except for some of the towers that hold up what used to be cable cars. There's also a couple of other standing structures from when it was a park. In this photo you can clearly see the specks. I'll zoom in on some of them that were left over from the processing of the film. A lot of people were flying kites that day. There's a butterfly kite in the air behind it. It is right on the water peninsula, so there is quite a bit of wind in that area. So here's the other end of the chairlift. The other side goes off into the woods somewhere. I didn't track it all the way down, so I'm not really sure how long it was. I'll move on to the next view, which is a straight-on view of this. So there you go. Pretty run down at this point, but moving on to the next photo, there was this arch, which I guess was apparently part of World's Fair. I think they made a couple of these. Reading the placard that's below it shows that this was kind of like a meeting point. People would say like go meet at the arch, but as you can see, the park has a beautiful view of the bay. On the other side is Newport, Rhode Island and Jamestown, which is known for mansions and other things like that. There's also this pier. A lot of people like to go fishing off of it. I'm not sure if this was around near or during the time of the park or rebuilt part of it later. This looks like a fairly new structure, so I'm not sure if there was something that was there previously that this was replacing. Again, there's a lot of rocks on that park. It's almost like two levels. There's kind of this flat area and then kind of this like hill that you can go up and get a better view of the area. In the background there was this tower, which I guess was part of a large chair swing. There's another placard that explains it there as well. So on the way back, I was driving around and stopped at a couple of places, one of them being this school, which I think is still in operation. But it was kind of neat, this big kind of 50s structure. You can tell, I guess, from the fallout shelter sign on the right. I also stopped at a grocery store, and there was a lot of God rays coming through the clouds, so I took that photo as well. There was also this really neat bowling alley that looks like it hasn't changed much from maybe like the early 60s, mid 70s. So I took a nice photo of the bowling side of the side. Okay, so this next group of photos is from another local trail. I went with one of my friends and his two dogs, and it's a good little walk around. It's about maybe 3-4 miles in length, so it takes about an hour to do. So this is his dog Odin and himself, and here's his other one, Bruce, which I'm not sure how old he is, but he's the calm one of the two. On the trail we also noticed this large barred owl. I'll zoom in on him so you get a little bit better shot. You can also notice that the Canon FD 50mm f1.2 has some kind of almost swirling in the corners. You can tell this, I guess, it's pretty prevalent in this photo, mostly due to the leaves. The lens also has quite significant flaring, but I think it works well in this effect because I was able to tell from the viewfinder that I was going to flare, and so I tried to push it down as much as I could when I was taking the photo. Here is a shot into the woods. I made it symmetrical to one of the trees to I don't know, give kind of like almost a foresty vibe. I think the film actually did quite a good job of making sure that things that were underexposed or still usable. There isn't too much grain in this photo. And then we're getting to the end of the walk, in which we took another photo and kind of moved on. The film developer that I got it developed from also introduces a lot of scratches to the photo. This one you can see quite prevalent. Some of them you probably noticed earlier. Not sure how. Again, in the future, probably something that I would like to control that process to really nail down the quality of the photos. I must mention also, I'll move on to the last photo, that the scanner that I'm using is a PlusTech 1200i AI. It's like a $500 scanner. It's one of the best scanners I can find new, other than trying to get like an old Nikon one. And I think it does well, it definitely does a much better job than what the lab gives me. But it does take quite a long time to scan a whole roll of photos, because it's manually loaded, and then it's about a minute and a half to 2 minutes for it to do one normal scan and then a infrared scan to try and remove scratches. So that concludes all the photos that I have in this lineup. I have another roll off for development that is Kodak 400 Max, so we'll see how that comes out. And so if you enjoy this series, which is kind of a laid-back going through photos that I've taken in film, please subscribe and like, and I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.